some challenges with sound. So please, please, please chat in right away. Let me know you can hear me. If there's anybody there, just please put in a chat or a comment that says, I can hear you. Besides, we love hearing from you anyway. But I tell you, we have a treat today. So hang in there. We're going to do a little business first. But if you've got any teenagers around or young adults or even preteens, I think you're going to want to have them tune in today and meet Aditi, our new youth director. We're just so excited to be rolling out this program. So I'm not seeing anything from anybody yet. Oh, I'm here and I can hear you. Thank you, Lynn. That is so helpful. I really appreciate that. So one of the other issues we've been having with Facebook Lives, and this is also live on YouTube, is that occasionally they randomly seem to be kicking these out. And so if that happens, if we do lose you, hang tight and we will come back on. It'll be a different link, but if you're watching on Facebook or you're watching on YouTube, just hang in there, and within hopefully within a few seconds, maybe a minute, we'll be right back with you. But I'm just hoping that that doesn't happen today. And I'm hoping it's not going to take 3 minutes for me to get the sound going and everything right. Last time it was 3 minutes. So you guys are so patient. Really, really love that. And so it's so nice to see the comments. We really, really do love that. And I've got this little banner going, where are you watching from? It's just nice to hear from you. You know, we've been getting between 500 and 1,500 people tuning into these. So I just think it's such a wonderful community. So it's been a while since I've updated you about Knitted Knockers. So while we're waiting for people to connect in, I want to bring you up to speed. You know, who knew that Knitted Knockers would be COVID proof? I mean, really? For a few months during the beginning of the shutdowns and the trauma that we all went through, Knitted Knockers had to just totally take a step back, like all the rest of the world. And with hospitals closed and clinics to any procedures that weren't just critical, the demand went down. And of course, our ability to fill orders really went down too. But after a few months, my goodness, people were still knitting at home and crocheting and making these knockers. So they were still preparing them and making them. We weren't able to gather together, of course, but we could still make knockers. And websites still work, as we know, thankfully, most of the time anyway. And so we just, you know, people kept on making them. And then we worked it out so that our local group, we could go in one at a time and process the stuff that came in the mail and such. And so we were able to function on a limited basis. And then we found out that many of the hundreds and thousands of groups around the country in the US were able to do the same thing. So we were able to send out knitted knockers. Typically before COVID, we were sending out about 8,000 to 10,000 knitted knockers a month, an incredible amount. After COVID, it was like still 3,000 a month still going out, which is absolutely amazing. And it's because of you guys, the amazing volunteers. I mean, there's still a need for these, right? But yet you were able to do it. We did grab and go bags where we put together bags of stuffed knockers and bags of stuffing to go with them, and people would grab them and take them home and stuff them and then come drop them off. And anyway, well, now in March, we sent out an incredible, amazing 12,000 knitted knockers in 1 month. So we are back full strength, And even though we're still not meeting together in our state, we're not able to do that. We're still able to make it happen because of all that network, wonderful network of remarkable people out there, still striving to make a difference in their world, and they're doing it. So we sent out 12,000 in March, and it was a little slower in April. We only sent out 10,000. I mean, only 10,000 knitted knockers in a month. I mean, that's amazing. And worldwide, too. I mean, we're in 33 countries, and boy, France has just been going wild lately. They've got some great publicity, and I don't want to even start naming the countries because I'll leave out somebody and it'll bother them. So I don't want to do that. So I want to get to business now. No, the fun part. We did the business already. Okay, I see a comment I got to start with right here. What a remarkable child to do this. Yes. Okay, so you see on the screen with me, and I'm going to get rid of this banner. Oh, shoot. Now I forgot how to do it. Okay, I'll do that in a minute. When she's talking, I'll do that. So over the last few years, occasionally we would get contacted by a youth, and they'd say, I'd like to do this for my school project, or how can I help? And so we would plug them in using our standard procedure of how to help make knitted knockers. We'd encourage them to register, and then if there was uh, uh, a, a requirement for their school to validate that they had made knitted knockers, we would happily do that because we would track them for them, and we wanted to accommodate it. But as time went on, more and more people started wanting to help out. And it had been just running around in the back of my brain. Wouldn't it be cool if we could have a youth program? But how would we ever do that, you know? And then God sent this angel. You keep hearing me talk of angels, but that's the way I see them. I got this email. I wish I had remembered to pull it up, but it was from this remarkable young woman you see here. And she's from Georgia. I'm from Washington State. That's about as far away as you can get in the United States from each other. Anyway, she said, I started this group in my school, and I just wanted you to know about this project that we're doing. And we set a goal of so many knockers, and we're going to send them to you. And I went, oh my gosh, is this for real? And I mean, we're talking during COVID time when you can't even meet together. How do you start a new group in your school and teach them something like knitted knockers? I don't know how you do that. I don't know that I could do that. So we started communicating, and I realized, oh my gosh, this is a remarkable young woman. And so without any further ado, I'm going to introduce you to Aditi, and please say your name, so because somehow I don't get it right.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. It's Aditi, but it's like really close, so it's all good. Yeah, honestly, it's like such a huge pleasure to be here. I've been like so just really in awe of your group and Knitted Knockers for such a long time. So it means a lot to be here. Talking to you and talking to everyone in the comments. I see you. Thank you for supporting me. And thank you for supporting Knitted Knockers. Really, everyone who's knitting kind of makes the group, and Knitted Knockers wouldn't be like anywhere without all of its wonderful volunteers and helpers and all the people who aren't even acknowledged, like all the people who are knitting knockers, all the people who are in craft stores. Like we really do appreciate you, and we're sending you lots of virtual love.
Oh, well said. You can see why I was impressed with this young woman. So, Aditi, you are 16 years old. And whatever got you thinking about knitted knockers. What's your story? Why knitted knockers?
So around like a year ago from today, my great aunt was actually diagnosed with breast cancer. And she lives in India, but we always have been very close. And I was really shocked and very upset. So I had picked up crocheting, I think, a few years before. And I always really loved to crochet. And honestly, I wasn't really looking for anything to really help because I didn't know there was anything you could do with crocheting to actually help with breast cancer. But I was just like learning a little bit about breast cancer, so I was a little bit more informed about what was happening. And I actually came across in one of my searches, I came across knitted knockers, and I was so shocked about what this group was doing. I was really like, I remember I told my mom, I was like, oh my God, I can actually like help somehow, because I think sometimes you just feel so powerless. You don't know what you can do to aid someone. And I think almost everyone now has been touched by breast cancer or just cancer in any form. It's just so prevalent nowadays. And almost everyone knows someone or knows someone who has had it, or they've had it themselves. And it's a horrible disease. It really is. But by making knitted knockers, you're kind of providing like dignity and you're providing comfort. And I feel like you're kind of like giving a part of someone back to them in a way that's very personal. But I think it's just so important. It's something which not many people would think about, but it is so. It's just really empowering. It's kind of allowing you to be almost normal again. It's kind of providing a sense of normalcy back into your life.
Mm-hmm.
And that was something that really struck me, because knitted knockers not only is something which is very important for the person receiving the knocker, but also for the person who's making it, because you know that what you're doing and what you're making with your own hands, the yarn you're buying, it's all going to a real person. And it's really, that's something that really kind of comforted me. Throughout, like especially in quarantine, I think a lot of people, even if they aren't affected by breast cancer, that's something people are struggling with, trying to find meaning in their lives again. And that's why I think it's so important, to kind of introduce people to knitted knockers. And I guess that's what kind of led me to start my group. So I had been making knockers independently. I also taught my mom how to make knitted knockers, which she wanted to help as well. So we were making knockers over the summer. And then when the school year was starting, I was like, okay, I feel like there's an opportunity here. Um, so if you guys don't know, I'm sure a lot of you know, but teens in this quarantine have been a little out of place. It feels very weird to just be at home all the time and trying to, just find a sense of normalcy again, especially because you aren't able to talk to your friends really in person. Everything's virtual. So I feel like a lot of teens have actually been getting into crafting, knitting, crocheting, because it kind of provides you like something to do. And it also, I feel like making something with your hands, especially when like everything is digital, is so big. And it's like, it's really comforting to people, especially my age. So I've noticed like a huge increase in people who are learning to knit and crochet, and people who want to, even in my own friend group. So as the year was starting, I was like, okay, I know this year is going to be virtual. My school is actually hybrid. So some people chose to stay home, and then like half the people kind of chose to go to school. Personally, I've been at home. And a lot of people around me have been at home as well. But I was like, there has to be a way where, we could still kind of meet up and get this going. So really the first thing I did was kind of gauge a little bit of interest, among my friend group, among some other people my age, asking like, are you interested in knitting and crocheting? And if there was like an organization, who you could potentially help, with learning how to craft, would you like be interested? And then once I kind of had like a reaction, I didn't want no one to join. I feel like that would be a lot of work for not a lot of effort. It would just be like a lot of work wasted. So I was like, okay, I have like a good little group of people who I think would be interested. So basically what I did from there is I found my wonderful advisor. He is my biology teacher, and I've had him in the past. He has been very supportive. So I talked to him about basically starting a club and potentially just like getting like a group of people together so we're able to really like do it. And I will say to any like teens listening out there, anyone who might be listening, I would just say like don't give up hope if like one potential advisor says no. I had to go through 3 different times. The first 2 teachers were just too busy or they just couldn't do it, and that's perfectly all right. I think it's really important though to find an advisor who kind of knows you, and who is incredibly supportive, and they're always wanting to help you, and kind of just like helping you to succeed. That's really important. And if you can find someone like that, I would say really just like kind of tap into their potential. Definitely don't drain them or anything, but really just if you have someone who's able to back you like that, it's really useful, especially for starting a club like this, because you will need some support. So also other people you can contact, maybe your principal. It's different for every school, but I'm pretty sure most schools have already like a protocol in place for making a club. So for my school, it was really just you have to have a club sponsor, you have to have a few people who you know will join the club, and you have to fill out a little like a form with your goals for the club, what you're gonna do, and like kind of just so they know you're not gonna do nothing in it. Um, so that's what it was, and our school functions from Teams, so we don't actually have Zoom. So we made a little teams for our club, and I just tried to get people to join. And around 20 people ended up joining, which I'm very, very blessed. In quarantine, it is not easy. There was no club fair this year, so it was really just trying to market online, you know. But all the people in my club are really hardworking. They've tried their hardest to make really good knockers. Half of them have actually learned how to knit or crochet online, and that is also like a huge, huge deal. Even learning how to knit or crochet in person is very difficult. I know I learned and it was not easy. So I'm just so proud of everyone as the year is ending for us. I'm incredibly proud of everyone in my like little club. And I really wouldn't be here today without them as well. Um, so for any of you watching, yeah, that's them right there. That's some of them at least. But yes, for any of you watching, I appreciate you. Anyways, I think I was talking about just basically how I started the club. So once I did that, that was earlier this year, from like, earlier 2020. That was like 20, like around September, I started the club. And then after a couple months over winter break, I was like, okay, I think there's potential to kind of maybe spread this more. So I did reach out to Barb then, and she was so incredibly supportive. I was honestly very astonished. I never expected. I just reached out to her. I was like, oh, so this is what like a little group at my school is doing, and I was wondering if there would maybe be like a potential for a youth program, and I would love to help, um, help in any way to set that up, because I think there's a huge potential for teens to join, young people to join. And her response really blew me away. She's been super, super supportive of me. And I really appreciate that. You've kind of guided me in every way, offered so many opportunities. And I really do appreciate that a lot. So that's kind of what led me to where I am here today. We definitely talked a lot about how the youth program would work and what I would do. So I'm really blessed to be the youth director of Knitted Knockers now. And basically what that means is I'm able to help any incoming groups or any incoming people who are young people, teens, preteens, if they would like to join Knitted Knockers, I can kind of provide them with a little starting tips, getting out there, getting ready, because I know it can be a little bit difficult. You could be an individual knitter, crocheter. You can also try to partner with a medical clinic. I won't be able to help too much with the medical clinic, but I can definitely point you in the right direction. or even starting a club in your school. I'm working on a little tip sheet to start a club at your school. I want it to be as comprehensive as possible, so it has taken a little time, but that should be up in probably the next few weeks once my school ends, and once my final exam ends. Probably. And so, if you are planning to, or if you know anyone who would like to start a new club or a chapter of Knitted Knockers, like definitely have them reach out to the email. I think Barb put it in the chat. Or yes,
Mhm.
or you could
Yeah.
also go through just the main website and say that you're a youth, you want to get connected. And I really would be happy to help. We do want to spread this as much as possible. That's what Knitted Knockers is here for.
Wow. I had this whole list of questions, and all I needed to do was put Edity there, and she just, can you see why I was blown away? Oh my goodness. What a great program and a great opportunity for kids to learn a new skill. And along that line, before I forget, I want to mention that Edity made a video tutorial on how to crochet knitted knockers. And we are in the process of getting that put up on our website. And it is wonderful. The video tutorials we have up there right now of Lorene and I and Bunny and I, those are a hoot. This one means business. I mean, she knows how to teach. And so if you've got kids that want to learn how to crochet knockers, check back and we will have that link available. I'll post it when it's available on Facebook, but I'll also post it on our website under the patterns page down under the crochet. And it's going to be titled Crochet Tutorial Youth for Knitted Knockers version or something like that.
You
And
were definitely hyping me up a little bit too much there.
oh,
I don't think it was very like in I think it was like kind of informative, but don't have too high hopes. That was my first YouTube video. So
well, let's just step back and think about this. This young woman started a club virtually in her school, got 20 kids involved, and referred them to places to learn, those that didn't know how to knit or crochet, how to learn how to knit and crochet them. And then she does this video tutorial. You ask me whether you think it's any good or not. I mean, I think it's great. And even better is she's teaching her younger sister how to crochet a knocker. I mean, sisters that get along and then one that can teach the other. I mean, yeah, you got to watch it. You got to watch it when it comes on. And so let's see, how do we sign up? If let's see, you've answered a lot of this. I'm just going to go back and revisit a little bit. Okay, I've got a teenager or I am a 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21-year old student and or young person, and I want to start this. I don't want to start a club. I don't want to start a group, but I want to help. Can I just contact you directly, Edity, through the Youth for Knitted Knockers at Gmail? And then I can be part of your club, maybe?
Absolutely. So that is something which is absolutely possible because I know not everyone wants to start a club. Not everyone really just has the means to start a club. And if you would want to be an individual crocheter under like the Youth for Knitted Knockers blanket, that would be wonderful. I would love to have people. And really, all you have to do is just email me on that, say that I would like to help to make knockers. And I can just provide you either if you're a beginner, maybe I could provide you some of the stuff which I used for my club to help you learn. I have some PowerPoints, basics of crocheting, basics of
Wow.
knitting, I think. So I can provide those to you if you need them. They have like some helpful tips specifically for crocheting. I know the knitting one is also very good. I haven't checked it out personally. I'm not a knitter, but how to make a magic ring, things like that. And if you already know how to do that, I could just send you the pattern. And you can send the knitted knockers directly to Barb. Basically, you could do that, or you could partner with a medical clinic. That would work too. But absolutely, if you want to just be an individual knitter or crocheter, that is wonderful as well. That's how I started out, honestly. And just know that I am here for you. It's like a community. It's nice to have some support. It's nice to have someone to talk to when you're making these. You don't know what to do. um, so absolutely.
Well, that's super. So now, say I'm 16 years old times. Let's see, would that be 4 times multiplication 4? Yeah, that's about right. Anyway, so I'm inspired and I want to start a group. Now, you had mentioned that you're putting together a tip sheet of how to do that, and I remember in our previous conversations you sharing about how not every advisor really catches the vision or has the ability, the time and the ability to invest in it. So you went through a couple before you found the one that was just like, yes. And so on that tip sheet, is that going to help with that, or can they just,
Absolutely. So, oh, sorry, go ahead.
no, you go ahead.
So basically, about like advisors, I think that the problem is that a lot of people they just don't know what knitted knockers is as well, and they're like, I don't know what that is, or people are just really busy, and I think it's really important to be respectful. That's like the main tip I have. Be respectful of other people's time as well. You never know what's going on in their lives. Like some of the teachers, like the first teacher I asked, she was like, "Well, I love this, but I'm the department head and I just simply don't have time."
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I understand that. And then she said, if you would like to keep on updating me, I would be happy to help you. So I just send her little updates on how the club is doing. So things like that. Also, you don't want to be really desperate. I feel like, I don't know if that's the right word, but
Mm-hmm.
it's really important not to kind of just like cling on to someone and say like, okay, I really need you to help me with this, and this is what you have to do, this is what you have to do. I think just make it kind of as low stress as possible. Definitely you want to lean on them if you need to, but it is your club, you're the leader, so you have to take like accountability. That person is there to basically help you on the way, not to really like spoon feed you. um, so it's really important to find someone who will let you grow in that way, and really someone who, I think it's more about you as a person as well. Um, yeah, I think finding an advisor is really personal to like who you are. But in the end, you just want someone who has the time and ability to keep track of what's going on, especially if you have finances involved in your club. That's really important. You have someone accountable and someone who basically has the time for you, and someone who's like timely. They'll answer messages, things like that. I think that's pretty much the most important things. But as a leader, like you kind of have to step up and you have to be the one who's really doing much of the busy work for the club. Like you can't just be
Mm-hmm.
like, okay, I'm starting this club and then leave the advisor to do everything. I feel like that's not fair. So that is something I want to advise in my tip sheet as well, that you really should be the one who's trying to get people to join. Like they can definitely help, but it's up to you. And definitely there's people who can help you out. I could always help you out if you would like. And just reach out to me. How do you do this? I know it's incredibly difficult, especially in COVID times, to really get people excited for things sometimes. Getting people to come to group meetings, very difficult. But you do learn a lot. I've learned so much over the past few months, just about people, about talking to people like in authority. And I really would recommend it if you are even thinking like maybe I would be interested in starting this. I would really recommend you should. And it really doesn't even have to be in your school. If you want, you could do a neighborhood knitted knockers club. I feel like that would be so fun as well. But yeah. Sorry, I know I messed up the question list a little bit. I kind of forgot about
No,
that.
no, you have not messed up one thing. Trust me, trust me. Uh, I I mess up because I move things around on the screen here. But so you mentioned something about finances. this is something you and I have not talked about at all. My son is a vice principal of a high school, so I have talked with him. So I kind of have an idea about finances involved in these schools. But how does that work for you? I mean, we are unable to provide the yarn and stuff because it's just not feasible for us. So how does that work with the school, with your program?
So for my school, really this year at the beginning of the year, like the administration sent out like a little list saying, or like a little like notice kind of thing saying that we do want to keep like club spending low this year. So we don't really have a budget for our club because it is a new club as well. And what you can do, what's usually typical of clubs, is if you need any expenses, you have to kind of rack them up through dues for the club. So this year we didn't do dues, and we asked people instead to like buy their own yarn. We put in the what is it called? We definitely put out like if you are unable to buy yarn for yourself or buy any materials, um, like me or like the vice president, we have a lot of yarn around our house, which is from knitted knockers because we've been making it. We've been making knockers, and we would be happy to provide them for you. But unfortunately, this year we were not able to provide like knockers or what is it called? Not knockers, yarn or crochet needles, crochet hooks, or knitting needles to anyone. But we're thinking maybe next year, if things go back to business, we would maybe like to have like a small fundraiser. That's what I was like thinking about mentioning. If you are planning to do a fundraiser maybe for knitted knockers, I would definitely just reach out to me and I will forward that email to Patty and she will forward it to the people in charge of fundraisers. So I'm not like definitely not the authority on that because we haven't talked about it. And I'm not. I would just say just make sure you're following your school's protocol. You don't want to get in trouble for that because money is an issue nowadays, especially in public schools. I think sometimes we're a little low on funding. So I would just say follow your school's protocol, and if you have any questions, I'm pretty sure we'd be happy to answer. But Knitted Knockers doesn't really provide really yarn or like crocheting or knitting supplies. I think you mentioned that sometimes you provide yarn. I could be wrong,
Mhm.
but
Yes, because of the volume and the scale that we do, 10 to 12,000 knockers a month, there's just no way that we can provide that. And so that's what we typically ask our volunteers to do, to provide the yarn. And we have affordable yarn choices. We try to keep it under $2 a knocker for the cost of the yarn. But we do recognize that that can be a challenge. And so for the youth program, we certainly would want people to contact us and talk to us. If we can help, we want to help.
yes.
Uh, I'm going to put my son on the spot here. He had told me that in their school, they have the service clubs like Rotary and Kiwanis and stuff. They're always, he says, very happy to get behind a program that they see is doing good in their community. And we have ways that you can connect with your own hospitals and clinics, which is a whole nother topic that we don't want to take your time with today. Excuse me. But we don't want finances to be the problem. And we do require approved yarns. We're very much sticklers on that because we're not doing this just for fun. We're doing it because we're helping people. And so we do have, you know, excess sometimes that we can share on a limited basis. So anyway, I just wanted to throw that out. Now, you threw a name out there that nobody else probably knows, but I sure do. Patty. So Patty is an extraordinary volunteer for Knitted Knockers who contacted me a few years ago and asked how she could help. And I was just about crying at the time saying, I need help with emails. Oh my gosh, blah, blah, blah. Poor me. And she said, I'd be happy to help you when I retire. And I thought, well, I'm never going to hear from her again. But she did. She contacted me. And so Patty is amazing. and she is not in my state. She a different state, but she handles all our registrations. So when a knitter or a crocheter comes on board and registers with us, which is not required, but it's recommended, she's the one that sends out the emails and connects. And if you want to be listed on our directory, if you want to start a group, she's the one that does that. So when we were talking about this youth opportunity, of course, Patty was the one that I went to, and I was like, what do you think? And she thought it was great. And I said, would you work with Aditi so that she can take over all those inquiries just directly, just take a step out of the process? She said, I'd be delighted to. So she's been, I would call her your mentor, maybe.
Absolutely. She's been so, so wonderful. So if you're watching this, I appreciate you too. um, you're always there for me. And I know I'm going to need a lot of help with these emails. So just like a preemptive thank you.
Well, you know, we're a wonderful team. Nobody can do this by themselves, and that's what makes it so awesome. So we're going to wrap this up pretty quick, even though I could talk with you forever. But what is it about this that you think that the kids have, you know, embraced it? I always think, you know, having purpose to your knitting and your crocheting, you know, brings value. And I'm looking at it from the perspective of an older person. I can only make so many baby booties or, you know, whatever. Um, do you think that that element of making a difference in somebody else's life has been impactful for kids?
I think it absolutely, absolutely has. I think a lot of just young people, they're just not sure what to do. Like a lot of people are getting into new hobbies, getting into new things, but it feels like sometimes it feels like there's just you're just going on day by day and it's the same. You're just doing schoolwork, you're just, kind of just like living through the day. And really just knitted knockers for me and for the people from my group who have let me know has just really been like kind of a grounding experience. And it's a it's a really special experience because you know that what you're making and what you're putting your time into, what you're spending hours on, it's really going to someone real. And it's someone who will benefit from that and someone who will get so much comfort from that, and they will find purpose in that. And I think that just kind of rejuvenates you as well. It's something that really like until you make a knocker, you don't know how it feels. Like you feel so proud of yourself. And watching everyone in my club starting to make knockers, I feel so proud of them as well. Um, Obviously, you're not only making knockers to make yourself feel good, but it's really just like that knowledge that you're going to touch another person. Like through your work. It's really meaningful. And I think you mentioned in another meeting that we had that you were asked if you were ever going to manufacture knitted knockers. And what you said there really stood out to me because I feel like the something special about knitted knockers is that you know that someone has put an effort into making this for you and they were thinking of you. And I think that that's something which goes on the other side as well. When you're making it, you know it's going to someone, and you know that that can't be replaced by something else. So it means that you are directly providing comfort into the world. You're directly making a difference. You're directly making an impact. And I think that's what's really like struck a chord with the people in our group and me as well. And that's something that's so, so special about knitted knockers. Yeah.
Wow. Wow. What can I say? There's nothing to add to that, is there? Uh, the I would ask anybody that's watching this. I can't imagine that you're not totally inspired. I mean, wow. So, what can we do at this point as uh, adults? I would say that this particular Facebook Live is going to be live on the Facebook page. I mean, it's going to be there for a while. So you don't have to watch it live. You can go back and watch it. You can share it out. And if you've got kids or grandkids, share it to them. And if you're a school administrator, how inspiring would this be to bring it to the kids in your school? And honestly, I'm not here saying this so that we can get a ton more knockers. I'm here because the vision of Knitted Knockers is to inspire and equip people to provide for their own communities. But it has grown so much beyond that, to bring passion and purpose into our lives, and to bring passion and purpose into young people's lives, and help them to learn at an early age that an investment of themselves can make a difference in other people's lives. I just think that that's priceless. And so, um, if you do not get this email correct that I have put up there in the comments a bunch of times, you can always go to knittedknockers.org, and under the contact link, contact us and say, hey, I saw this interview and I'd love to help, or I'd like more information, and we will forward it to Aditi. And hopefully all her big exams are getting done right now. I didn't realize this was her big advanced placement test week, because I'd asked her if any of her group wanted to join us, and she said, well, they're pretty busy with their exams. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I
It's
don't want
totally
to
good.
away
It's
with that.
okay. I didn't have one today anyways, so I was relaxed.
That's awesome. So, comments. The comments that I was not able to get to respond to, I will respond to them later. So check back at the under Facebook and YouTube, and I will reply. And even if you watch it after the fact and you put comments, I'll get notifications of them. So I'm going to try to respond to everything. And I just really, really appreciate all of you for tuning in. And I would like to say that messaging through Facebook is the most difficult way for me to respond. I really prefer through our website or the comments, but individual messaging, for some reason, we can't keep a trail of it. It's just awkward. So it's not all about poor me, right? No, no. I will answer messages too that come that way. But my preferred thing is go to knittedknockers.org, ask your questions there. There is an FAQ section, a frequently asked questions section, that will answer an awful lot of questions. And register with us, and we've got processes in place that we should get you plugged in right away. And if you know somebody that can use a knitted knocker, they can order them there. So 3 ways to help. I always try to get these in. If you're interested in this one, if you can knit or crochet, go to knittedknockers.org. The patterns are free. The video tutorials are there. If you're a youth, oh my gosh, you are our new favorite people. And so that would be great. Second way is share out on social media, because as Aditi said, there's so many people that want to help, that don't know how to help, or that are dealing with breast cancer, and could use these. So by sharing on social media, that gets the word out about them. And third way is donate. We did talk about finances. You know, our postage last year was $55,000. I mean, that's a lot of money, but that's to give away free knitted knockers. But thankfully, we're able to do it because of the generosity of donors. And we just really appreciate it. It costs about $10 to put out a set of knitted knockers and get them mailed out. So we really appreciate that. And I do want to do a shout out to all our international. I saw that Greece was here, and I think India was here, and a number of different countries. We love you. It's just so exciting to see this go worldwide. So do check back for the comments. Amazingly, we made it through. I don't think we were kicked out. Hopefully we weren't talking to ourselves, Aditi. So I think we went through our questions. Did you have any final comments, Aditi, that you would like to share?
I didn't. I just wanted to say thank you to everyone who tuned in. I really appreciate that. I wasn't sure if people were going to join or not. But yes, thank you so much. I see all your comments and I really appreciate all your support. And thank you, Barb, for having me here and for having me part of Knit and Knockers. It means so much to me.
Oh my goodness. Okay, well, that's a great way to end this thing. But I always end with, when I remember to speak life and be kind. And if this is an example of bringing life to people and being kind, I don't know what is. So thank you. We love you all. Thank you so much for tuning in. And we'll see you next time. I've got a very interesting guest that I don't think you're going to believe it. And she's only 22 years old, this next guest. Um, so hang tight. Keep tuned in to what's coming next. So thank you. Love you all. Keep up the good work. Speak life.